Brianna Brown, and I did my case study on Audrey. She's a 4th grade student in Miss Busby's class. Where is she coming from? Audrey is 10 years old. She lives with a very supportive mother, and also her aunt, who's her mother's sister, is also active as well. Her aunt is the one that attended our field trip last week, which I thought was very interesting. And she has 2 stepsisters, a stepbrother, and a full brother that live with her as well. She didn't mention her father when I asked, so I'm not sure how active the father is in the household, but I do know that her mother is the one that's always attending meetings, always the one asking those questions, and the one that's very involved. And the aunt is also the one that comes to parent conferences, so the 2 of them share that supportive role. She has no medical or health issues, but she is diagnosed with specific learning disorder in spelling or language arts. This diagnosis is very interesting to me because it's specifically in spelling. If you paid attention to Audrey and her academic goals and needs, she's a very bright student. She's successful in anything she does, but when it comes to spelling, that poor baby just cannot spell, like at all. It's like interesting. She's not just good at it, she likes it. Some of her strengths include reading, math, and science. To me, it's very interesting that one of her strengths is reading, seeing as she can't spell. She can read at a 6th grade reading level right now. She's reading books such as The Hunger Games and Divergent, and she's testing 80s and 90s on those AR tests. And but then when she writes anything, she can't spell the words that she's reading in those books, and that just like flabbergasts me. When she does math, she understands those concepts very well. We were going over fractions, decimals, things like that. She grasps those concepts well. And science, she enjoys science. She's a very kinesthetic, hands-on learner. So when we do experiments and things of that nature, that's when she grasps those concepts the most, and she enjoys learning anything with amphibians and things of that nature. Her interests, like I mentioned, her favorite subject is science. Her favorite movie is The Hunger Games. She will talk your ear off about The Hunger Games. She made me take a test to see what faction I was in. I'm Erdite, or however you say it, just in case you want to know. She was very interested in that. Her favorite sport is football. She said her and her family watch football games. They get together, they cook out, they tailgate, and she loves doing that with her family. And reading, she enjoys The Hunger Games. She finished all the series. And she really enjoyed Greek mythology. We did a series in class on Greek mythology, and that interested her the most. So when the teacher and I tried to get a lot of books between Hunger Games, Divergent, and Greek mythology to keep her interested. Everyone goes through challenges. Audrey is a well-behaved student, so she has very minimal to no behavioral issues. She follows directions very well, so the teacher doesn't normally have to get on to her. Any teacher that she deals with, we don't normally have to get on to Audrey. Academically, she is an average student. She's not above, but she does make those good grades, those C's and B's. Her biggest difficulty, as I mentioned earlier, is spelling, and that affects all subjects that require her to write. So if I'm in math and she has to write anything, it affects her because she can't spell. My poor baby has struggled writing her name. I'm not kidding. She struggles writing her last name. So anything that she has to write, she struggles with because she can't spell. But other than spelling, she tends to grasp most materials, especially if she gets that extra help. Is it different here? I observed Audrey in 3 different locations, in art, lunch, and special education. In art, my art teacher is very outgoing. She sings, she uses her hands, she's very different art teacher. I can't take her some days. So for Audrey, it's a very uncomfortable environment for her because she's a quiet, introverted student. So when the art teacher does start singing, Audrey kind of hesitates and waits until the rest of the class starts to participate before she does. She has not gotten in trouble in that class, and she tends to produce decent to adequate artwork. During lunch, she has friends that she sits with. If we are in silent lunch, Audrey is glued to a book. She loves to read, so she doesn't mind silent lunch because that's when she gets to read. But if we're during lunch and she gets to talk, she has the same group of friends that she's going to sit with and she's going to associate with and talk. She doesn't talk too loud to get in trouble, but she does enjoy conversation. For special education, I went to the resource room and observed her. She goes to special education mainly during testing time. It kind of concerned me to see her in special education because I felt like she was taking advantage of the resources and going beyond what she could, or not doing as much as she could do. And that kind of concerned me in the special education room. How to get along with your classmates. This was my sociogram. She definitely knows who's the smart ones in the classroom. She did not draw lines to the same people. She kind of spread her lines out. She does recognize who's the ones that are mostly isolated in the classroom, and she does have her same group of friends. So all of that was noticeable with the sociogram. Teach me. I did 3 lessons that I did specifically accommodations for Audrey. I taught conjunctions, I did a poetry lesson, and I did math. All of these I made sure to do an I do, we do, you do. And I made sure to do, they all required writing at some point, so I incorporated some spelling assistance with Audrey. I didn't really have to as much as I intended because Audrey has a friend, one of her closest friends sits right next to her, and I noticed that she helps her a lot more than I anticipated. So if Audrey needs help and she doesn't turn to me, she'll turn to her classmate and say, how do you spell this? Or she might even copy it off of her classmate's paper. So those were the accommodations I used during all 3 of these lessons. What changed? Audrey does not require very many accommodations, especially during whole group instructions. And for the lessons that I did teach, I either plan to give her more time or put her at the back table and especially give her spelling assistance. I never needed to give her more time. I never had to put her at the back table. During the conjunctions lesson, I did have to help her with spelling assistance because they were writing compound sentences and I wanted to put them on the board or on the wall. So I did make sure that she knew how to spell things. But when I help her with spelling assistance, I just say, Audrey, how are we doing? And she's honest because she knows. But other than that, she did really well. And I was proud of the product that she produced. Did it work? Like I said earlier, I noticed that Audrey's friends help her a lot and they're very understanding of her disability. I appreciate that her classmates are understanding, but it also kind of makes me nervous how much they were helping her because they did let her copy the work. And I don't know if I'm okay with that because is she going to be able to grow if she's always just copying her classmates' work? But I do appreciate that they're understanding of that disability that she has. She did not have to get extra time as mentioned, and she did not have to get put in the back table. Yes, you can. I use positive behavior support for Audrey. She's an amazing student to work with. She loves encouragement. She loves telling me what she did, what she accomplished, and telling me about Hunger Games. And she's just exciting to talk to and exciting to encourage. And that's all I did was tell her that yes, she can. And between the 2 of us, we made it through the semester, and I'm incredibly proud of where she made it. I know what she learned, but what did I learn from Audrey? I think the absolute most important thing I learned from Audrey is that nothing can hinder you from your success. Just because she has one area of difficulty does not mean that she should be labeled or given lower standards. She has the capability and desire to exceed all expectations, and she already has this year. So she's shown me that we each have our own individual strengths and weaknesses, and a weakness does not necessarily have to define us. And I learned that from Audrey, and I'm so thankful that she gave me that insight and broader perspective on life. So her story doesn't necessarily end here, and I'm so excited to see where she goes in 5th grade. And I put this up here because she does enjoy Hunger Games, and I want to remember her for this always. Thank you.